Okay, I ended up with talking about what people don't talk about, although they, in the Kinsey work, that this all came out, and that's a wonderful movie to watch, by the way. Although it gives you an idea of how sort of strange it is to be a scientist about these things and not actually understand yourself. But that's the whole other story. But it's a wonderful movie, an important movie, if you want to know anything about human sexuality. And of course, there's been a lot of research since then. You know, Masters and Johnson, I think, and other stuff, they took videos, and there's all kinds of people trying to figure stuff out. But you know what? For all of that scientific research, what we mostly need about love is wisdom. And wisdom comes from the heart, doesn't come from the head. Now, the head participates. You know, the head has to form thoughts, but the wisdom comes from the heart. All right? So, Eros, or erotic and sensual love. And erotic is of the mind or the spirit. We have this idea, and we find it arousing. And two different ways I talked about last time were sort of things that are forbidden, you know. And they're culturally forbidden. I don't think they're absolutely forbidden, and this is where we get into the individualities who've got to do one thing or another thing, you know, on their own course, so to speak. Got to make a note here on the time so I don't lose my time thing. Anyway, sensual and erotic. Erotic and sensual. Erotic is of the mind, or the inside of the human being. And the sensual is of the outside. It's through the senses. It's what we see. It's what we hear. It's what we taste. It's what we smell. And it's what we feel, as in the sense of touch. Although there is also feelings as well. So when I talked about the woman needing to be warmed up from the inside, I talked about her feelings. And of course, you know, you go to those romantic comedies and they're all the time people are trying to figure this out, and women are trying to get in the heads of men, you know, what this is about. And it's, you know, we have this idea, well, men's got to be sensitive. Well, I'd say the better word is men need to grow up. Men need to stop being boys, you know. There's a TV show called Arrested Development, in which the idea is you got this whole family in which everybody's still a teenager. Robert Bry wrote a book called The Sibling Society. Now, Rudolf Steiner, who is a very profound thinker about various things, he puts it this way. It's a very interesting idea to have. He said that in the present stage of human evolution, our psychological growth stops in about the mid-20s. And it doesn't mean its potential ceases. It just kind of runs down from its own natural unfolding. Our psychological growth naturally unfolds into a post-adolescent state, and then it comes to rest unless we bring it alive. And education should be able to do this. Education should be able to help a person understand how they can continue to psychologically grow through the rest of their life. And we had a cultural event in the world, and certainly in America, we call the 60s and the 70s, when people sort of got that. They got that you can continue to grow throughout the rest of your life, and that resulted in all kinds of changes in spirituality and stuff. So, why are we talking about this? Well, I'm saying boys, you know, are sort of tend to end up in this place where they run out of steam sort of in a natural psychological growth, and that's what you get in the culture where you have boys with toys. You know, women go around and they look, and the guy's got a boat, he's got a motorcycle, he's got a big pickup truck, you know, and he likes to go out and get drunk with the guys, and she doesn't know what to do with him because she's psychologically a little bit ahead of him. which anybody who really watches what goes on in adolescence really shows that women have this sort of better psychological growth because they're more adapted to understanding feelings anyway. Men kind of turn away from it, and there's a lot of complicated stuff into why that is, but here we got to just, work with sort of simple things. So anyway, for women warming up from the inside, it's important, and that's all the stuff that romantic comedies are about. This is, and the best ones are by women, and it's all about men getting mature enough to understand to give to women what they want in terms of being desired and romanticized. That's why women want it. They want to be warmed from the inside out because their basic nature is erotic. And the erotic is of the mind and the spirit and the soul is where feelings happen, and the mind's where we have our spirit is where we have ideas, and the woman needs to know that she's thought of in a certain way. Now, a good example of this is the film As Good as It Gets, where Jack Nicholson plays this guy who's he is so strange, and he's so good at playing this guy. He's got OCD, he's got obsessive compulsive disorder, and he is he's just awful to people. He says what's ever on his mind, and he says unkind things all the time, and all of a sudden he meets this woman, and he is drawn to her. It confuses him. He doesn't understand why he's drawn to her. But one of the reasons he's drawn to her is because she accepts him for what he is. See, that's that thing. Selfless human love. She doesn't really want to remake him. She accepts him as he is, and it's a very profound thing to be on the other end of that, Now, she's tempted to try to remake him, and she wants to remake him, and that's a thing that women do. But when they really can understand what it is that a man wants, the man just wants to be accepted for who he is. So anyway, she's accepting him for who he is, and that helps him be who he is. So when you get to the crucial moment where they're walking down the street and he's still jumping side to side, avoiding the cracks to step on or whatever his OCD thing is, and he says to her something on the order of, you make me want to be a better person. And she melts inside. That's that warming thing inside. And it's not just about turning her on or making her hot. Okay? That's a boy's way of thinking about things. Don't be a boy anymore if you're a man, with respect to the women. Really respect. They got a lot to teach us. And the thing is when you get down to it, men have a lot to teach also. It's a two-way dialogue. So let me pause here, and we'll go on to the next incredibly amazing thing.